Are you planning to visit Singapore soon? Well, hold on to your bucket list because we have some important tips for you. Imagine stepping into a world where modernity meets tradition, where every street corner has a story to tell. But just like any other destination, there are do's and don'ts to keep in mind. Want to make the most out of your Singapore adventure without the faux pas? Stick around to find out the 10 things you should avoid doing when visiting Singapore. Singapore is a beautiful city with plenty of attractions, but there are certain things you should avoid doing. Firstly, let's talk about chewing gum. While it might be a common practice in many parts of the world, in Singapore, it's a different story. The city-state has a strong stance against gum, and it's actually illegal to chew it in public places. This law was implemented to keep public spaces clean and free from gum litter. So if you're a fan of this minty chewable, it's best to leave it at home when you head to the Lion City. Moving on to the second point, littering is a big no-no. Singapore is renowned for its cleanliness, and it didn't get that reputation by accident. The city has strict anti-littering laws in place, with fines that can reach up to $1,000 for repeat offenders. And it's not just about throwing trash on the ground. Even small actions like throwing cigarette butts or spitting can be considered littering. So make sure to dispose of your rubbish responsibly, use the bins provided, and keep Singapore clean. Lastly, eating on public transport is another thing to avoid. Whether you're on a bus or in an MRT, mass rapid transit train, eating and drinking are strictly prohibited. Even if you're just snacking on a piece of fruit or sipping on a bottle of water, it's best to wait until you're off the vehicle. The aim is to maintain cleanliness and prevent unpleasant smells in the confined space. Violating this rule can result in a hefty fine, so it's best to wait until you're at your destination before you dig into your meal. All these rules might seem strict, but they're part of what makes Singapore such a clean, orderly, and pleasant city to visit. It's not just about avoiding fines, but also showing respect for the local culture and environment. Remember, these aren't just tips, they're laws that can result in hefty fines. Continuing our list, here are 3 more things you should avoid doing in Singapore. First off, jaywalking. In many parts of the world, crossing the street wherever you please is a common practice. But in Singapore, it's a big no-no. The city-state takes pedestrian safety very seriously. So make sure to cross only at designated pedestrian crossings or overhead bridges. The fines for jaywalking can be hefty and they're strictly enforced. So remember, patience is a virtue, especially when it comes to crossing the street. Next, let's talk about smoking. Singapore has stringent laws when it comes to smoking in public places. There are designated smoking areas and you should make sure to only light up in these zones. Smoking is strictly prohibited in indoor locations like shopping centers, eateries, and on public transportation. Even outdoor areas like parks, bus stops, and within a 5-meter radius of entrances and exits of buildings are smoke-free zones. Violating these rules can lead to hefty fines, so it's best to be aware and respectful of these laws. Lastly, and perhaps a bit surprisingly, we have flushing public toilets. You might think this is a given, but in Singapore, it's not just a courtesy, it's a legal requirement. Yes, you heard that right. Singapore is renowned for its cleanliness, and maintaining the hygiene of public restrooms is part of that. If you're caught not flushing a public toilet after use, you could be fined. So do your part in keeping the city clean and remember to flush. These rules might seem strict, but they play a crucial role in making Singapore one of the cleanest and safest cities in the world. It's all about respect, respecting the laws, the culture, and the people. So when you're exploring the city, keep these points in mind. Singapore is a very clean city, and these rules help maintain its cleanliness. So, abide by them, and you'll have a fantastic time in this spectacular city. Stay tuned for the next part of our list. Rounding off our list, here are the last 4 things you should avoid doing in Singapore. First up, let's talk about the king of fruits, the durian. While this spiky, pungent fruit is beloved by many in Singapore, it's decidedly unwelcome in most public spaces due to its strong odor. That's right, avoid bringing durian into enclosed areas like trains, buses, or hotels. You'll find signs explicitly stating this, so it's not just a matter of courtesy, it's a rule. Next on our list is feeding the pigeons. It might seem like a harmless, even charming activity, but in Singapore, it's a no-go. The city is known for its cleanliness, and feeding pigeons can lead to unsanitary conditions. So if you're tempted to share your lunch with the local bird life, resist the urge. Moving on to number 9, this one's a bit more modern. In our digital age, it's easy to connect to any open Wi-Fi network. But in Singapore, using someone else's Wi-Fi without their permission is considered illegal under the Computer Misuse and Cybersecurity Act. So, be sure to ask before you connect, or stick to using public Wi-Fi networks. Finally, we have avoiding payment for your MRT ride. The mass rapid transit system in Singapore is efficient, clean, and a great way to get around. But don't be tempted to skip out on the fare. The system is regularly patrolled, and penalties for fare evasion are quite steep. While these rules may seem strict, they're a big part of what makes Singapore such a unique and enjoyable place to visit. Remember, when you're in a foreign country, respecting the local rules and customs is a part of the travel experience. It's not just about seeing the sights, it's about immersing yourself in the culture and becoming a part of the local rhythm. So keep these tips in mind, and you'll have a fantastic time exploring everything Singapore has to offer. Now that we know what not to do, let's talk about the best time to visit Singapore. Singapore, known for its vibrant culture and stunning cityscape, is a year-round destination. However, there are certain periods of the year that can enhance your experience. The weather plays a significant role in choosing the best time to visit. Being a tropical city-state, Singapore experiences warm and humid weather throughout the year, with temperatures typically ranging from 75 to 91 degrees Fahrenheit. However, the months from February to April, the period between monsoons, are generally the most pleasant. Singapore also hosts numerous festivals that can add color to your visit. The Chinese New Year, usually in late January or early February, is a grand spectacle of parades, dances, and delicious food. Or if you visit in July, you can witness the Great Singapore Sale, a citywide retail bonanza that attracts shoppers from all over the world. When it comes to tourist crowds, the peak season falls between December and June. During these months, the city bustles with energy but is also more crowded. If you prefer a calmer atmosphere, consider visiting between July and November. Regardless of when you choose to visit, Singapore offers a unique blend of modernity and tradition, with unforgettable experiences waiting around every corner. Remember, Singapore is a tropical city-state, so pack accordingly. To make the most of your visit, we've put together a 7-day itinerary guide for you. Day 1, start your journey with a visit to the iconic Marina Bay Sands. Take a dip in the world's largest rooftop infinity pool, gazing down on the glittering city skyline from 57 levels above. After that, head over to the Art Science Museum, an iconic lotus-inspired building. Day 2, step into the gardens by the bay. Explore the Flower Dome, Cloud Forest, and the Super Tree Grove. You'll feel like you've stepped into another world. As evening falls, catch the mesmerizing light and sound show at the Super Tree Grove. On Day 3, set sail for Sentosa Island. Bask in the sun at Palawan Beach, get your adrenaline pumping at Universal Studios, or marvel at the marine life at Sea Aquarium. Day 4, it's time for a shopping spree on Orchard Road. With a mix of high-end boutiques, street vendors, and food courts, there's something for every shopper. Day 5, immerse yourself in Singapore's rich heritage by visiting Chinatown. Explore the colorful streets filled with traditional shops and markets. Don't forget to visit the Buddha Tooth Relic Temple, a remarkable 4-story Buddhist temple. On Day 6, visit the Singapore Zoo and River Safari. You'll come face-to-face with orangutans, white tigers, and a myriad of other species, some of which are endangered. Finally, on Day 7, explore the vibrant neighborhood of Little India. Here, you can experience the rich Indian culture, savor the flavors of authentic Indian cuisine, and shop for traditional Indian goods. Remember, this is just a guide. Feel free to mix and match the days or add your own destinations. The beauty of travel is in its flexibility and the surprises that come along. With this itinerary, you'll be able to experience the best that Singapore has to offer. So there you have it, 10 things to avoid, the best time to visit, and a 7-day itinerary for Singapore. We've covered the do's and don'ts, the optimal season for exploration, and a week-long adventure schedule to help you make the most of your Singaporean journey. Remember, knowledge is the key to a seamless travel experience. So don't forget to hit the like button, share this video, and subscribe to our channel for more insightful content. Thank you for watching, and we hope you have an unforgettable trip to Singapore.